Welcome back to Into the World with my smartphone. Anime review episode number 6. This I'm viewing the 16th episode of the anime, actually 15th episode, called Collecting Books in a Library Cafe. Now, I should point out though, there's a couple things cut, and one thing that was actually moved to the previous episode. Yes, there is a segment where Rosalite and Toya, where in the book they actually have that scene from the last episode where they have the registration little thing. They moved the last time probably because basically it would be kind of weird to do it this episode in particular, so they moved that up to here instead of being a little bit later. Okay, that doesn't really affect the story at all. And also how Toya got the cafe up and running. Yes, this was probably cut due to, well, not just due to time, but because I guess for some people they might find this boring. The fact he had to raise some capital, and the fact he spent lots and lots of money on these books. And the fact he also mentioned about time about creating sofas, stuff outside, all this other stuff. My guess is from an anime point of view, this probably would seem boring to watch. So they have to happen off screen. So the former slaves are working as members of the cafe, and of course the former adventurers are working as like guards for the place. So the place is a big hit. This is they refer to it as they call it the Moonlight Cafe, which, by the way, this cafe still exists in the books as of right now. Yes, they actually moved it over to something I will get to when we get to episode number 5 of this season anyways, which is in 2 weeks. So they need a little more selection of books. So of course you also have, after basically like we have Lynn's, where she just basically got these particular books for the library. What books they are? They're basically books that feature gay romance. Yep. Apparently the ladies of Belfast love this type of stuff. And here's the thing, something they actually do not mention in the episode, they cut this out here, is that Toya is looking for completed series. Not series is ongoing. He's looking for completed ones because he does not want to wait. Because he wants the thing to succeed. He does now the stuff that you keep in, the fact there's entry free, the fact that they can stay for a certain period of time, and the fact they can also get some food while they're here at this cafe. They do keep the more important stuff in, just the side stuff they basically cut out due to time, and probably some people might find this boring. So, and of course, you also mentioned the fact they had a garden outside, something they did not show in the episode. That would be interesting to cap in, but my guess they probably cut also due to time as well. So, then of course you just have randomly Yamina and Toya go on a hunting date, which, by the way, in the book basically he kind of asked her for this, and she said, "Cool." They go to the guild, because here's the thing, they're just randomly at the guild looking for a quest, an elimination quest, and they come across basically a crab, which, yes, they actually do hunt for this thing in the book too, and they come across a receptionist, which they mentioned at this point her name is Perm, when they visit her later on. Now, that's actually another thing they moved up here, is her name, this receptionist girl, which they actually moved that up, probably just so they can speed things along here, which, if you're a fan of the books, this is something that you probably think, does it really irk anybody? Does it have to follow the book exactly? No, it doesn't. I mean, just keep the important bits in, move stuff up, and basically keep moving the plot forward instead of dragging it out. I mean, if you want more information exactly what was cut out here, read this book. And we'll tell you. And you may or may not find it boring, but I found the story, but at least keep the main story intact. They kind of think of it as side stuff they decide to cut out or simply move up here. So, he recommends basically a particular series, which Toy doesn't find until Yamina explains later, or she does know the writer. And here's a fun fact for you. This writer also continually appears in the books too. She's a recurring character in the books. What's this episode introduction? Yeah, who is this writer, you might ask? She is the first princess of another country. Oh, and by the way, her writing career. Now, the way they have it here, this is kind of interesting. It appears as though basically she keeps this whole thing of like. Oh, by the way, her name is the first princess of the refs. Her name is, let's see if I can find it here. Refi's Emporium. Her name is Relly Rammerfries. She's basically a novelist. And by the way, Yamina basically kind of told him, in the book, it's implied that Toya may have known about this off-screen, Yamina. Here, they basically put it in. This actually was off-screen information. That maybe, I'm sure, probably the writer probably passes a little note to the writers of the episode. Hey, put this little note in because I actually cut this out. And they're probably like, cool, we'll put that in. No problem. So, then they go straight to the kingdom. You might be thinking, is it very quick in the book too? Yes, there actually is not much cut here. So, they just wander about, go to the books up, and of course, but before that, they actually go hunt for the crab. Now, apparently, the little boy mentioned about a spell, basically is gravity. Now, in the book, they actually have Toy being taught this. In the anime, they actually just have him know this. Apparently, he was taught this off screen. Now, you probably would think about this. Now, when Toy learned spells last season, they kept them all on screen, and yet this time they keep it off screen. My guess is, and this is my personal theory, they probably removed that particular scene just to keep the plot moving. Yes, they probably just want to keep the plot moving as quickly as possible, but to keep a good pace. So, they hit in the crab, which it's a bit more quicker than the anime in the book. In the book, it's a little bit longer. Like, the way it looks in the anime, it looks like Yamina and Toy took out this crab in less than 10 seconds. In the book, it took a slightly bit longer, but the pacing of it is quick, but it's not too quick per se. Basically, I mean, it does use the same spell in the book, the whole wind thing, and of course they slice up, and of course she uses a gun. Yeah, she's got a gun now, probably because Toy gave it to her, I'm presuming. And then, of course, they hand the crab off to be sold to make for books, and they go to the country to buy it, and of course they tell the receptionist, you got more books basically that generate what we look for? And of course, they write them all down, and here is the name of them, and basically they kept the whole names in the book, which is quite something. Let's see if I can find it here, because I want to make sure I get this right here. The original book was called Order of the Rose. They said it was 15 books. The other books are The Butler's Secret, 5 volumes. The Disgraced Slaves Prince Oath, 8 volumes. Cage Boy, 6 volumes. Satyrine Deadly Embrace, 12 volumes. Red Hot Night Between the Two Who Couldn't Turn Back, 5 volumes. The Magician's Sweet Trap, 12 volumes. Immortality on His Wedding Day, 17 volumes. Rose Tainted Magic, 9 volumes. Beneath My Master's Gaze, 18 volumes. And yes, if you're curious though, they did not cut that out. They actually kept that all in. And then of course, basically, they get the books no problem, except for we have this random woman show up and requesting basically these books. And he gives like an alias, which basically is the writer of that particular book. She's like, why would you have a random one? Why would I read comic books? And of course, he reveals her name, and it's like, oh, you're Irene. And she the person's like, how did you know that? Yamina. Like, how do you know Yamina? And Toya's like, I'm Muchiko Toya. I'm Yamina's fiance. Which in the book they say he actually engaged to her. They changed to where he's basically her fiance. That's fine. I have no issue with that at all. So move on here. Oh, by the way, she completely. By the way, the whole thing of her in the episode, she's kindly misunderstanding what Toya is doing. So he proceeds to cry chop her in the head multiple times in the episode, and then Yamina shows her to straighten everything out. And this sparks something that we'll explain a little bit later. So they get the books, and of course, all the receptions are very happy, and then we have where Lynn's basically just tells them what the book is. Excuse me. And then, of course, excuse me, we have the younger kid. Apparently, he wants to protect somebody, and it turns out one of the former slave girls. He had a crush on her, and it's implied she's got the same thing for him too. I think this might be Amy original, but it's perfectly fine here. There's like, can you help me train to get stronger, protect her? And he's like, sure, dude, I can do that. So he hands off an instructor, and then of course, basically, he goes off Yamina to the hot, and of course, he goes off you with Yamina to the hot spring. Actually, it's Elsa, I think it is. His third fiance goes up to the hot spring, relax, runs to the tailor from the opening episode of the series, like, oh, I got a brand new outfit, and he just gives it to her. Ends the episode right there. I'm like, that's interesting. But wait, that's not the end of the episode. Yeah. Then we have a bit of an Am original scene here, where apparently, like, Toya is made into a fictional character, into a book, and apparently he's ensnared all these women. I'm like, did the writer just basically inadvertently roll himself in and just basically basically had where Toya basically is like a fictional version of Toya who's got basically a harem, which of course Toya does. And that's how the episode ends. It's an absolute really good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just really fun. Yep. Next week's episode will be the start of basically adapting, I believe it's the third chapter book. It is actually the third chapter and probably the interlude, probably adapted for next week. Actually, no. I think next episode probably will adapt the first interlude, and the third chapter, kind of. And maybe they're going to finish the book up. Now, if I can tell by the titles of the next couple episodes, we're probably going to finish this adapting this particular book by episode 5. Yes. But just a damn good episode. I love it. Yep. And still hoping the season is not 12 episodes. Excuse me. How long would it be? 24. Or 25. Depends on how long it takes to adapt these books. Because I want to see more than 2 or 3 books. I want to see more than three books adapted for a season. Yep. But yeah, that's particular view. Next up is Doctor Who and the Comic Corner. I'll call it a night, okay? Thanks, Phil. Bye.